Unit 4, Topic B, Run a Query. In the previous topic we created a little query called city, but we did not do a lot with it. Here it is on screen. I want to go further and show you that if we take this query into a design view where it currently stands, there's a new menu that becomes relevant, and that's the design menu with its ribbon. And all of a sudden there are a whole lot of new icons on this ribbon, new functions that we need to just quickly explore to understand what they mean. The first one that I want to show you is on the extreme left. In the results group we have a little run button, and what it does is it allows us, when we've created a query such as this, to run it, which means to execute it. Now when I click on the run button, the query gets executed, the selection that we wanted is made, and the result is displayed on the database screen as a data sheet. When I go back and I view this query in design view, I can redo the whole thing. So the first thing I want you to know is when we go into the design ribbon on the left hand side in the results group, we have the ability to change the view, but we also have a run button, which is an important part of running the query and making sure it works properly. The rest of the items on this ribbon show different types of queries, and I quickly want to just work through them, although we're not going to use many of them now, but I want you to understand why they are there and what they're being used for. The select query, as we said, is the simplest type, where we simply select particular data entities based on selection criteria. The make table query is a tool which we use to take the selection from a select query and create a persistent table. In other words, to create something that lasts outside of the actual running of the query. Remember that a query is transient, so that when it runs and you close it, the data that was displayed basically disappears and everything reverts back to normal. But a make table query can actually create a new entity, can create a new table, for instance, from the results of a query. The append query we use to append data to a table, to add data to a table based on particular criteria or rules. The update query is used to update information in a table, for instance changing a VAT rate from 14 to 15% without having to individually change every entity. The cross-tab query is where we aggregate the values from two different data sets such that they are tabulated in a way that makes sense. More about that in more advanced sections. The delete query is used to delete data from a table in an organized fashion. Typically the rule is that we do not delete data in a table except through a delete query, because the query can be structured in such a way to validate the deletion and make sure that we don't delete something that we do not intend to delete. And then there are different design types. There's a union, a pass-through, and then there's some data modification functions which are more advanced than we need to cater for right now. The rest of the query setup we'll work through as we go along, and we'll work through some of the functions on the show hide group as well. For now, what I want you to know is that from the design ribbon, when we work with query objects, we can view the data sheet, we can view the design, and importantly we can run a query.